We've got some breaking news right now. These are the doctors giving us an update on Damar Hamlin. Let's listen in.
Recovery. As Kristen noted, Tim and I are representing the many, many individuals and teams who have cared for Damar over the past week. This includes our EMS, our emergency medicine, trauma surgery, cardiology, critical care, neurocritical care, all of our amazing nurses, respiratory therapists, physical therapists, occupational therapists, speech therapists, pharmacists, you name it. I could keep going. There are many, many people that had a hand in Damar's successful recovery to this point. And as a team, our collective focus from day one has been keeping Damar at the center to ensure a good outcome for him. Since our last update to you, Damar Hamlin has met a number of key milestones on his journey to recovery. I believe when Dr. Pritz and I last met, Damar was still intubated and on a ventilator. Obviously, since then, he has been extubated and has gone through a weaning of his oxygen. He has been up with physical therapy and occupational therapy, walking the unit, tolerating a regular diet, meeting with his family and many members of the care team that wanted to see how he was doing, all to get him to this point that he could be safely returned to Buffalo. And so at this point, I think that we're comfortable opening up to questions, anything that anybody may have at this point. But thank you all for your well wishes, not only for Damar, but also for our team here at UC. It truly has been felt.
Hi, Catherine Fitzgerald from the Buffalo News. Thank you guys so much for the update. I wasn't expecting so much good news so soon, so my questions are a little different now, but I was wondering if you could talk a bit more about the next steps for Damar Hamlin at this point, what he still needs to do and what that outpatient care will look like. Thank you.
Certainly a great question, and neither are we, to be candid. We continue to be ecstatic about his recovery. And as Bill mentioned, when we started all this, what we told his parents is the only thing that mattered was the patient in the bed and getting him back to him and his family and to his community. So we anticipate that he will undergo, an ongoing series of tests and evaluations to determine the etiology of what caused the incident on Monday night and to treat any pathology that may be found.
And just one follow-up with that ongoing testing, what does that timeline look like? And is there anything that you're able to rule out at this point to the cause, or is it still too early on that?
I think it's still fairly premature to comment on that, and the further timeline will be determined by him, most importantly, but also by the experts in the hospital where he is now.
Thank you.
Hey, guys.
Hi.
Hey, there we are. My name is Liz Bonus. I'm with WKRC TV here in Cincinnati. So glad to be able to share your work and the latest update. So will he go to another rehab facility? Is there a step down that he will be followed in now? And also I wondered, did you ever have to cool down his body when you brought him in? Is that one of the reasons or one of the things that you credit to him doing so well right now?
So I can't speak exactly to where he is right now. He has been transferred to another hospital. In terms of those next steps, again, we're going to defer to the very capable and excellent hands that he's in. As for the question, you refer to what we call as targeted temperature management, and the answer is yes. Damar was placed on our targeted temperature management protocol, and he was managed in that by our neurocritical care team for most of the duration, really up until the point that he got extubated, was the point that we had him under fairly aggressive temperature management.
And then last thing, do you see him back on the field this lifetime? Do you see limitations to his future?
So I think we're in the same place that we were in the last discussion, is that it is entirely too premature to discuss not only his football. It's that we're really focused on his day-to-day recovery. He still has a little bit of a ways to go in terms of his ongoing recovery. We're thrilled to where he is today. He's up, he's walking around, he's got an amazing, genuine sense of humor. And his family is amazing, and we're happy he's with them. But in terms of any kind of conjecture to his future, that's still significantly into the future, and it's going to be up to Damar and a great team of physicians to help him.
What do you mean when you say still has a ways to go?
Just ongoing recovery. And I mean, he just got extubated 3 days ago. So he's still got some recovery to do.
All right, great. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Liz.
Hi, everyone. Coley Harvey from ESPN. Echoing so many sentiments, definitely did not realize this was the news that we would get today. So your staff should feel very good about your work. You said that he was walking around the unit. When exactly did he begin walking?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he walked his first lap on Friday.
On Friday, wow.
Yeah, breathing tube came out, just to clarify the timeline a little bit. The breathing tube came out early Friday morning. And he's continued to make good progress since, but worked with physical therapy and had assisted walks with the nursing staff on Friday, continuing to regain strength. He's certainly on what we consider a very normal to even accelerated trajectory from the life-threatening event that he underwent, but is making great progress.
You just said accelerated to normal. What does accelerated look like in terms of that trajectory? I mean,
that's a great question. Anything to the one side of normal. Normal, as we would expect, a normal recovery from something like this is going to be measured in weeks to months. He's been a little bit ahead of that at each stage.
And actually, one more for me. What does that recovery process look like next? What are we looking at him needing to do specifically next?
The goal for every patient who suffered a serious illness or injury is to help them to return as close to baseline as possible. So we anticipate that he would have likely ongoing needs, whether it is therapy or working with different specialists to get him as close to where he really can be. But, again, to echo what we talked about on Thursday, he appears to be neurologically completely intact, and there's no reason to believe that he won't continue his path to recovery.
Thank you guys so much.
Doctor.
Okay, this is absolutely fascinating. And like all of the journalists who are asking questions right now, I think the reaction here is the same. We did not expect to hear that he is released. He has been released from the hospital, Damar Hamlin, of the Buffalo Bills, number 3, who everybody was cheering on and supporting yesterday during the NFL Sunday games. An extraordinary touchdown by the Bills started their game against the New England Patriots. Damar Hamlin has been released. He is back in Buffalo. He has been up around walking and talking, and the doctors are talking about the accelerated timeline that he has been on. This is just a truly extraordinary story. When you think back to the players standing on that field, absolutely devastated, thinking at that moment that perhaps they had lost one of their own, one of their team members, one of the family of the Buffalo Bills, and now he is with his family, who these doctors give extraordinary credit to, and to him, and to his sense of humor and his resilience in this, what they called a life-threatening situation. He has been transferred to a hospital in Buffalo to continue the next stages of his rehab. They did not release details about where he is. They said, we're going to leave that up to the family. But it's interesting that they also talked about the need to still determine the cause, the pathology, and the treatment. And I think that's revealing here in terms of what his future will look like. They need to figure out if there was perhaps an underlying condition, something in his physiology that caused this very unusual event to happen to his heart during this game. And that's the process that they need to go to. They were, of course, asked, is it understandable? Is it feasible that he could return to the field at some point in his career? They shied away from answering that question, but they did give him enormous credit in terms of his resilience, his aggressive timeline on his recovery. So, I mean, this is extraordinary news. Damar Hamlin has been released. He's gone home to Buffalo with his family to continue his recovery. But you could tell these doctors are elated, I would say somewhat surprised with how quickly this has transpired for him. And certainly the whole Buffalo Bills family is elated as well that he is back home in Buffalo to continue his treatment. And we look forward to hearing more. He is neurologically intact, walking around, talking, and keeping everybody entertained with his sense of humor and his incredible spirit. So we wish Damar Hamlin well, and this is fantastic news that he's been released to this hospital, and we watch for more as we get it in terms of his condition and what he can expect going forward. But everybody's making those heart signs with their hands like he did, and he got a whole lot of love this weekend, and rightfully so. Great story.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.